Warriors, cyber attacks already happening now. Problem, reaction, solution. We've talked about this for 2.5 years. My name is Coach JV. I am the top health, mindset, and crypto coach in the world. What you believe in your heart, you think in your mind, will eventually become your words and become your reality. If you can see it in your mind, eventually you can hold it right here in your hands. What you repeatedly do gets ingrained in your subconscious mind. What gets ingrained in your subconscious mind becomes an unconscious activity. And the question I have for you is, if you've been watching my YouTube channel for more than 2 to 3 weeks, would you agree that when I start saying that in your mind, you can repeat that saying over and over again? Just like I'm so happy and grateful for the money that comes to me in increasing quantities from multiple sources on a continuous basis. Rest in peace, Bob Proctor. He's still here with us, watching over us. Repetitive patterns and predictive programming is what you're experiencing within your physical reality. And every single thing you are seeing within the physical reality in the media is a narrative to program your subconscious mind to move you into a new physical reality. And you, as a human being, not a human thing, are the only person that can make the decision to change the subconscious mind programming to become one of the wealthiest people in the world, to bring the money back to the people. And so we have provided an opportunity for you in a community, in a tribe, unlike no other worldwide. Access to my exact portfolio, 100% transparency. I literally turn the banking system upside down. I do the opposite. I show you my exact portfolio, my exact exit strategy. You fill out your own exit strategy as we head into the crypto bull market or supposed bull market or bear market. We teach you how to be a fundamental investor. We surround you with a community of like-minded individuals rising to the top together, so you don't feel alienated, so you can take a deep breath and let go of everything around you. Subconscious mind programming, goal setting, vision board creation, exercise, and nutrition. And you go through my revolutionary 120-day challenge, how I got my shit together in this amazing new world in the greatest time in human history. So click the description down below. Woo! In this video, everything you need. I'm fired up, Warriors. I'm super, super fired up. Okay, so let's dive right into it. Now, the reason why I'm fired up is I've been saying this stuff for about 2.5 years, and it's literally playing out exactly as we said. Ray Dalio is one of my favorite economists. He studies 500 years back. This is nothing new under the sun. I want you to take a deep breath. It's nothing to worry about. The threat of war is something that is not fun. It's not exciting. And I understand it can be very traumatic. But the world is a stage, and we're just actors in it. You're either the actor or the director. You have a choice, okay? But I think we all know at this point, if you're watching this, you're probably pretty awakened that as you look this way, there's a whole nother narrative going on this way. And if you know the game, you can't be played. So I'm going to read this article first, then we're going to go into what happened yesterday, and then we're going to go into the narrative, and then we're going to watch the 7-minute interview with Gary Gensler with Fox News, with two reporters that are working very hard to break the XRP Ripple case. It's getting very close, Warriors, but this is all a narrative. Please don't get caught up in one side or the other. They're all behind the scenes, locked arm in arm, taking us towards the exact same narrative. Please know that. So don't get caught up in this emotional relationship, and just don't, they say, what is it? I think it's, I can't remember the guy's name every time I say this. Don't date it. Don't trade it. Let's just get the money back to the people and be trustees of the land. And let's kick some ass in life. Okay. So what is the SWIFT system and why it might be a weapon Russia fears most? This was on January 27th, 2022. Okay. What is the SWIFT system? They started predictive programming us that this may be about the Russia, Ukraine. They're moving us away. All of a sudden, the mask laws change in California. Boom, no mask now. Everything changes all of a sudden, right? The C word, I guess, just disappeared. And now the mask laws are gone. So you have to really think from a conscious level of what's happening, this programming. And then all of a sudden, they start talking about this narrative in January. What is the SWIFT system and why it might be the weapon Russia fears most? As Western governments threaten Russia with a package of unprecedented sanctions aimed at determining President Vladimir Putin's from ordering the invasion of Ukraine. There's one measure in particular that appears to strike fear in the heart of the Kremlin: cutting the country off from the global banking system. U.S. lawmakers have suggested in recent weeks that Russia could be removed from the SWIFT, a high-security network that connects thousands of financial institutions around the world. Senior Russian lawmakers have responded by saying that the shipments of oil, gas, and metals to Europe would stop if that happened. Okay? We knew this was coming, Warriors. This is all about switching your monetary system. This is actually great news for us investors, okay? So let's go back really quickly. I'm going to have to readjust this video. Okay, so I'm going to switch this real quick. Okay, we're going to have to roll through this commercial. So how do I turn this audio off here to not upset you? Okay, let's roll through this commercial real quick. So as I talk you through this, I showed you this video on Bloomberg yesterday. My apologies, I wasn't fully prepared. As I said, this isn't no fancy production here. Okay, give me 1 second. We'll get through this commercial. And then what we're going to watch is what I showed you guys yesterday. Okay, this is on Bloomberg. So if you go to Bloomberg, okay, and it's we'll turn this volume up here, and we're going to go to minute 16. Okay, so I'm just showing you basically the narrative they're taking us through. We're literally actors in a play, and they're just taking us step by step through this narrative. Okay, so we're going to watch this clip right here where they talk about the SWIFT system and Russia.
When you plan sanctions like that, when you're in the White House, do you take into account the possible effect on the U.S. economy if you impose those sanctions, particularly when you talk about things like interfering with the SWIFT payment system?
Well, you'd be wrong not to consider the full consequences of sanctions, because the reality is that if we impose some very heavy sanctions, as I believe we're planning to do on the Russians, with regards to international banking, but most importantly, with regards to Nord Stream 2 and their ability to distribute fuel, there's going to be some consequences to that, to the United States and to other countries as well. But you have to weigh those consequences and try to prepare for them. And I hope we are, to try to provide alternative sources of natural gas and fuel so that we can sustain that kind of sanction. Because frankly, that's probably going to be the biggest hit to the Russians, is cutting off their ability to distribute fuel. That's what motivates their economy. That is what drives their economy. That hits them where it hurts.
Okay, so the whole narrative is here, words: supply chain, financial, SWIFT system, oil, gas, zero carbon by 2030. As soon as President Biden went into presidency, the first thing he did is immediately put us in the Paris Agreement, warriors. Okay, so yesterday, as I was breaking news, as I was sharing these articles, Ukraine Defense Ministry bank hit by cyber attack amid the tensions with Russia. So as we're talking about this, Russia hits Ukraine with a cyber attack and attacks their banking system. Whereas, do you literally see your portfolio being played out in a positive way? The new system is rolling in, warriors. The new system is rolling in. Here it is. We know, thank you to compact.nl. Okay, this is the SWIFT system timeline here. Okay, America integration, the ISO 20022 starts now in 2021, and then it goes all the way through 2023. It'll be fully implemented. The narrative right now is the SWIFT system with Ukraine and Russia and America, and we're implementing it in 2021, going into 2022, and in America, it'll be fully implemented by 2023. This shows you the timelines all the way through 2025. By 2025, you have a brand new banking system that's going to be ran by distributed ledger technology. JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon, they're buying land in the metaverse. They already have JPM coin. You have R3, you have Consensus, you have Algorand, you have XLM, you have XRP. Everything is connecting. Go to Consensus, look up Consensus, warriors. I got into QNT finally. I take my time. I got into QNT, so I'm dollar cost averaging in. Probably a little bit too late, but I'm not. That's not a recommendation, but I dollar cost average in when I figure out that that's what I want to get into. So QNT, I'm now into QNT, and I'm dollar cost averaging into QNT. Okay, so we're going to spend some time narrating through the Gary Gensler interview because, well, a lot of us are XRP. I'm not a maximalist. I'm just someone who believes in the technology that is going to change the world system, and I'm going to bring the money back to the people and do a lot of great things with that. Okay, so let's watch this 7-minute interview with Gary Gensler on Fox Business. This is pretty interesting. Let's just narrate this through.
It's happening on centralized exchanges or lending platforms. And you saw yesterday we had an announcement that I can speak about with regard to one of the large lending platforms. And why does it matter if 95% of the activity is happening there? What's important is investors get basic investor protection against fraud and manipulation. And as many of the tokens on these platforms may well be securities, that's where the Securities and Exchange Commission comes in.
Well, you're talking about the BlockFi settlement, where BlockFi paying out $100 million for handling or at least putting together, allowing people to park their crypto in an exchange, at least an account for a pretty incredible monthly interest payment. You said that those were unregistered and that they have to register. Is BlockFi now registering? Can you at least give us an update on that?
Well, they entered into a settlement arrangement to do so in a timely way. And importantly, what we found there is that not only was it not complying with what's called the 1933 Act or registration, but also the Investment Company Act of 1940, offering the public returns by pulling those assets and investing those assets, the crypto assets. But we're working with them. We're trying to see if we can get this whole area, these crypto exchanges and lending platforms, inside an investor protection envelope. And then if the public wishes, based upon that, to invest or even to speculate, that's up to the public. But to have the basic protections of protecting against fraud, manipulation, to have disclosure, these are the things that we have in our stock markets, and really important.
Okay, so key factor I'm taking away from this right here. They're working with BlockFi. They're settling with BlockFi, but XRP Ripple is all just about it being a security. That's it. And it's still going for 2 years. Wake up, warriors, all by design. They're just slowing down the train as they bring in the new monetary system and using Ripple XRP, which is going to be one of the biggest cryptocurrencies in human history, or biggest financial assets in human history, because they're slowing down the train so they can use it as the catalyst to bring in regulation and wipe out 99% of the non-fundamental cryptos.
If this technology is going to go anywhere.
Well, I get it, because you want to protect investors. And I truly believe that that's at the heart of what you try and do. But it has been an exponential growth spurt that we have seen. I mean, did you see the Super Bowl, Gary? All of those crypto commercials, they had them calling it the Crypto Bowl.
Well, but just think about this, Liz. In 2005, the advertisements of the Super Bowl were a bunch of mortgage companies like AmeriQuest, which that was right into the 2008 crisis. Back in 2000, there were 14 Super Bowl ads about .com companies, many of which went defunct later. So I wouldn't sort of confuse the advertisement with the credibility behind some of this or the viability.
I wouldn't, but think about what he just said. He literally shared with you how they use the Super Bowl to do predictive programming. They move the masses through the Super Bowl, the .com, right, around the financial collapse, right? That was a cataclysmic shift in our banking system with the collapse of the financial system. Okay, it was moving us into what we're in right now. That was part of the stage of the play to move us to where we're at right now.
Of these projects.
Well, let me tell you why I'm not. Banks have advertised in the Super Bowl. They've gone under. Certain, drink companies. It's part of sort of the free market. And I understand that this is very much a brand new and nascent investment operation or opportunity for people. But it really feels like it's been a transformational 12 months. I mean, you look at how many people and businesses are choosing to invest in or accept cryptocurrency. So I want to get to the SEC's approval of futures ETFs, Bitcoin futures ETFs. My question to you is this: you've rejected a bunch of offers when it comes to Bitcoin spot ETFs, whether it was Skybridge or all kinds of names. You had Grayscale's application that's being assessed at the moment. You've rejected Wisdom Trees, Fidelity, Krypton. You cite every single time the SEC cites, you need more to know about how they're going to prevent share manipulation, fraud, and lack of liquidity. What could any of these funds that are dying to get their ETF out there say to you that would get you to yes when it comes to preventing manipulation?
Well, again, I don't want to get ahead of any specific project, and it comes in front of our 5-member commission. But generally speaking, what's really important is these underlying markets, Bitcoin and the other markets, the underlying cash markets, are trading on exchanges, and those exchanges, I continue to say, come in, work with the SEC, register under the securities laws. It's probability weighted, but you've got 75 or 500 or thousands of tokens on your platform, it's pretty unlikely none of them are securities. So we did this working with BlockFi, trying to find a path forward and protect the investors at the same time.
But here's where I get confused. If you're comfortable with a futures ETF on Bitcoin, why are you not comfortable with a spot ETF for the underlying security of the futures ETF?
So let me just walk through a little bit. The staff looked at this very closely over a number of years, actually, and Bitcoin futures that you referenced, trading on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. That Chicago Mercantile Exchange has had a regulated market since 2017 by our sibling agency, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, an agency I was once proud to chair. So you should know, I think really well of the CFTC. So that's part of that framework. We don't have that framework for the underlying cash market at this time.
Okay, I want to move on to a lawsuit that the SEC has filed with against Ripple XRP. And again, without commenting on specifics, because I know you don't, what's the SEC's theory on certain elements of the crypto world that are considered securities, which would subject them to the SEC's stricter purview versus currencies which are not held to that kind of purview?
So it's pretty straightforward, actually, is that in the 1930s, after the collapse of the markets and the public getting defrauded, there was a basic bargain, and Congress wrote with a very broad brush the definition of security. And they included like 32 different terms. And amongst those terms, the conceptual framework was the public investing money, anticipating profits on the efforts of others. And the Supreme Court in the 1940s and multiple times since then have had the same approach. My predecessor, Jay Clayton, said it as well as I could say it, that in looking at these tokens, it's rare to find one that isn't doing that. The public is investing, hoping for a profit based on the efforts of some other group.
Okay, but that's with any investment. There is that caveat emptor, buyer beware element to all of the stock market. What confuses a lot of people, Gary, and if you could really clarify here, is, where do you draw the line, the distinction between what is a security and what is an actual currency? Example A, what Ripple did, selling XRP to build out its underlying blockchain network, no different than example B, Ethereum floating an ICO, a coin offering to help its underlying Ethereum blockchain. There is no difference, a lot of people say.
So Liz, you started by saying you weren't going to ask me about specific cases. And so if I can help the audience.
Example A, example B.
Yeah, but I help the audience know that it's not, I'm not really allowed to talk about specific cases, but as you said, $2 trillion is happening.
I mean, think about that, Warriors, real quick. So, oh my gosh, you can see it, right? I hope you guys can start to see this. You can start to see that this is all by design. I can't speak about specific cases. That's all he ever says when XRP Ripple comes up. I can't. So let's think about this for just a moment. Again, like I said, I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist. I'm not an XRP maximalist. I'm not any crypto. I'm a neutral. I try to be completely unbiased. I understand banking. It's like somebody who understands CrossFit, right? That's all they talk about, or they're vegan. That's all. I understand banking at a very deep level. My CFO and I both are from the banking sector. I went to CBA Executive Banking School, which is, I was a vice president of bank in the retail area. I went to CBA Executive Banking School. I understand banks. It's not like I'm just speaking out of my ass. It's just, I understand banks. I get it. Banks need a new monetary system. The SWIFT system is old. It was created during the internet time, before the internet time. We're moving from Web 2.0 to Web 3.0. Think about that for just a moment. So as I look at things like quant, I was like, oh, okay, the quant now makes sense to me. I'm like, oh, the Web 2.0 communicates different than the Web 3.0. Communication is key. We need a communication structure. There's a massive liquidity problem in the banking system. They're shaking the way that they make money. There's 3 ways that banks make money. All 3 ways are being tested. The banks need to move money fast. They also don't have the money and the infrastructure to build out this new wave of technology. Open banking, they're going to bring the public and private sector together. So stay calm, stay diligent, warriors. As I always say, click the description down below to join our private warrior. There's no risk to you, warriors. You go 30 days and you don't love the 130 cryptocurrency courses. What is it? How to do it? And an example, 130 courses, 7 calls per week. Exercise, nutrition. You go through my 128 challenge and I show you how I went from completely losing everything to getting my shit together, warriors. This is the greatest time in human history, warriors. I love you guys so much. I appreciate you. And as we always say, warriors, rise, get your shit together. I'm working on mine.